All right, Josh, welcome. A lot of people don't know your face. They might know your shows and the things that you've been a part of. Uh, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for the Bowery and your sort of role in the Saddest?
Sure. Well, yeah, thanks for having me. This is fun. Um, I book concerts and shows for a living, which is fucking weird to say. I have worked for the Bowery Presents for I think almost 15 years, might be 14 and a half. Prior to that, I was at a company called Mass Concerts, booking the Palladium in Worcester, and a lot of shows in and around Boston and Hartford, Connecticut. And that just stemmed from, being in bands in high school myself, and, not getting booked in clubs and just putting my own shows together. And then pretty quickly, I just realized I don't want to say I was better at that than playing music. Certainly it was, but it's just like that was my passion, just like trying to be involved in like any capacity. I mean, when I was at the Palladium, it was, being a runner for a band or helping load in or, doing the catering shopping. What got me into booking kind of was just me being fed up and, piecing paycheck to paycheck and looking for shows and looking for a tour to be on or a band that needed help. And, I was going to move to LA. I had some friends doing that and kind of started telling people at the Palladium, like, this is what I'm going to do. I don't really have a plan, but I'm just going to go out West and hope to, make some sort of impact or get a leg up. And they called and were like, what do you think about just staying here and like coming on full-time booking shows? And I hadn't really thought about that as a career. And I didn't think I was necessarily like suited for it. Everything that I had done up until then was just, because I needed to, because my band needed to play shows and people weren't putting us on shows. So it was, it was very organic and, didn't have the aspirations to be, sorry, this is long-winded.
Oh, no, it's not. It's fine.
Here we are today, fast forward and, I've been booking shows in clubs all over and, generally kind of stay hidden behind the scenes. And, yeah.
Your band kind of had a similar trajectory actually to ours. When we first started, we had a difficult time getting booked pretty much anywhere in New England. And we would book our own things and just try to make it work, put out our own records, kind of do it all. And it's great that your path is aligned with ours. You didn't come to this world from a bigger sort of industry or a sort of adjacent sort of entertainment world or anything like that. You're rooted within the punk rock community, the hardcore, metal, however you see fit, just alternative music community. And that's a huge strength for us for doing this show.
What was your band called? You don't have
Man,
to tell
here
me.
we go.
You don't have to tell me.
I was in a couple smaller bands in high school. The one that had the most success, like the one that I usually will talk about a little bit, is a band called Four Heads Deep. And it was just like really fast, like West Coast skate punk, influenced by like what we were listening to at the time, NoFX cool. And stuff like that.
Nice. I didn't know that. This is cool. Now I'm gonna do a deep dive. I'm gonna find out.
Good luck finding that stuff online though.
He's good. He's good at the internet.
We did get some royalty checks from BMI this past year for some like Canadian radio, Canadian internet radio station. Like the first checks that I've ever seen. I mean, it's $20 or something, but
that's not bad. $20.
No, man, $20. We get
I've gotten checks for like 19 cents before, so that's pretty good.
Same.
This is like something about the Canadian internet station. Like each play it's like real money. It's like, $7 or $8 each or something. I think it's not a lot of plays. Like we were looking at the reporting, which I've never looked at before. And it was like,
they have healthcare
10 or less
and
plays.
better internet radio.
They also must have a CD because it's not on Spotify. It's not on any of the digital service providers. So they must have just gotten a CD from somewhere.
That's
huge
pretty cool.
Huge in Canada. It could happen.
It happens.
It happens, man. It definitely happens.
I mean, I love that your story it's not an uncommon story when it comes to this kind of music. So it's cool how everybody kind of just finds each other, you know. I mean, I feel like it's with that way with anything that people are passionate about in their lives, where it's like, maybe I can't do the thing that I thought I wanted to do, but I want to be around the thing, and then being around the thing finds you the other thing.
The original Saddest Day, the first one that we did a year ago. Let's talk about it. What's your strongest memories of that? And you can kind of guide us through this a little bit, because you know, were the boots on the ground with us running.
Josh
everything.
Definitely did more work than all of us.
Absolutely. It's his infrastructure, you know, that makes it all possible.
It's like, yeah, it's guiding the ship, right? It's seeing, like, trying to figure out like what your vision is and how you want to present this, and, you know, trying to just execute it or find the path to executing it in a way that, you know, is honest and sincere, and, you know, like, puts forward what you guys are trying to achieve, and it just not being just a regular hometown show.
So this was something that we were trying to do. When I say try, I guess I should clarify. It was an idea that, I don't know, Nate, how long have we been talking about doing something like this?
A very long time.
Very long time.
Decades almost.
Yeah, at least 10 or 15 years, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Mainly because you're playing all these shows and these festivals and having these really cool experiences, meeting other bands, bonding with other bands, and we just wanted to be able to share that with New England, you know, share that bond that we have with all these incredible creative people, and, you know, get them in front of people in our own sort of controlled environment. That was always a struggle because there was really not a venue that could do that with us. There was, you know, various rooms, but they were either sort of, I don't know, just not the right fit. Things were either too much of a club, too much of a concert, too small, too big, whatever. And Roadrunner just fits this perfectly for what we're doing. And I think that before Roadrunner existed, there probably wasn't a venue that could do this in Boston proper, with us. So
I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's like an integral part. Josh, our Blood Moon show at Roadrunner, was that one of the first shows at the venue?
That was the first year of being open. So we opened in March of 2022.
Okay.
And I want to say that show was that year. April, May. I think
Something
it was
like
that early.
I think it was.
So, yeah, I mean, it was the first heavy show that we had done.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was pretty soon after things really started opening up again, after COVID. So it was definitely a weird vibe. Like, the show was
weird
great,
vibe.
but
yes,
but it was definitely like, people were like, "What do I do?
Sure.
I'm around people. I don't know what to do. Can I breathe? Should I look at that person? Should I be wearing a mask? I don't know." Like, it was weird. You know,
there's a lot of, yeah.
Yeah, it was just, it felt new again. It was cool, but it was strange for sure.
Well,
felt
you
like
know,
it felt like,
okay,
just in general, it took a little while for live music to kind of recover, you know,
sure,
for people even just to know what to do and how to have fun again, you know.
Josh, from your
time.
From
and
your
I think people
experience,
really like weren't sure what Roadrunner was at the time too. Like, it was a really big new venue coming to a part of town that, like, hadn't, you know, I don't want to say, I mean, there's obviously plenty of music happening in Austin, Brighton, but there hadn't been like a major, 3,500 cap club in Boston. Is just like, it was the first one of its kind. House of Blues is like, 1,100 or 1,200 capacity less, and that had existed in the Fenway area, and like that area's always had venues. So this was, quite a new thing, I think.
For me personally, being in that venue for the first time, playing there, that was the first time for me where I saw a venue locally and I said, we can do something here. Something different, something larger, And as Nate said, it was an awkward time for live music, but just being able to see the footprint, see what we were dealing with, seeing how just perfect the venue was, how wonderful the sound system was, the layout was. It was just like, this is where we need to do this show if we ever do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
I don't think we knew how adaptable the room was yet. So that was still really early. We were still focused on just like getting touring business coming through. That was definitely, that was the first show that we built with you guys. But the first show that we had built with an artist with like some sort of a idea of what we were trying to put together. It certainly was more, it was a straightforward show. It didn't have, I don't know that I would necessarily compare that to what Saddest Day is. But it was certainly different from just like a regular touring show. And I think we were just so focused on like, this is new and we have a calendar to fill. It took me a few years in talking with the staff and our techs and just kind of like figuring out like, what else can we do here? How can we make the room feel different? How can we make it feel smaller and more intimate? How can we utilize space upstairs? Or is there a possibility of putting a second stage in? Is there the possibility of building down, a lower stage, which we do for Saddest Day and we've done for Bane and Have Heart and a few others like that. But just trying to like present stuff in different ways. And I think at that point, like we still hadn't seen the vision yet.
So let me ask you a question. Oh, go ahead, Nate. What's up?
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
All right. I was just going to say, so what were the logistical challenges and your sort of lasting memories from just doing the first one as a one long? And Josh, go first.
I think for me, it was like a proof of concept. It was, spending a lot of time talking with you guys, Nate especially, on just like how you wanted to differ this from a normal show or from other festivals that are out there. Kind of just making something that was unique and like true to who you guys are. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought a little bit.
No, it's all good. That's what editing's for. I'll fix that.
Perfect. But yeah, I think it was just so excited to like, let's streamline this. Let's, one stage, one day. I think there was always like extra ideas that we, some came together, the live art portion, and some other ideas that I won't necessarily say out loud because it's probably stuff that we might do this year or in future years. But I think it was more just like, here are the building blocks. Let's try to put this together in like the most straightforward way possible to just like execute this vision and show people what we want this to grow into.
Streamlining is a wonderful way of putting it because I think Nate can attest to this. We just don't want any bullshit. No decoration, just fantastic artists doing their thing. No huge sponsors, no ulterior motives, just music and art in the community. And that's it.
Absolutely.
It's wild to have to say that out loud as being like the foundational things that should be there, but they're absent in other festivals. What bands stuck out to you from that first one? Was there anything that just kind of blew your mind or something that you weren't really familiar with previous?
Yeah, well, there's a few. I mean, Full of Hell. I mean, that was just, I had never seen them live. Listening to them, like they're a band that I've always liked, but I didn't know a whole lot about them, and just seeing them, especially when they came out with you guys, it was just like, oh shit, this is, you have to be in the room to see it. And that's, I mean, you can say that about a lot of bands, especially in this space where like, the live show is cathartic. It's just so like you're immersed in it. It's different than just listening to the record at home or in your car. But yeah, I mean, that was an absolute highlight for me. And I think the band that struck me the most, that I like walked away as a fan of, was Sex Position. Excuse me.
Almost.
Not Sex Positions.
They were
Stress
good too.
Positions.
Stress Positions. That's hard. I do that all the time.
Yeah, Stress Positions are incredible. I mean, Full of Hell is a force. You really don't know until you see them, and then you're like, oh, I get it. They just steamroll.
Steamroll.
Stress Positions are just like, I don't even know how to explain Stress Positions. It's like, half the time you're like, what am I looking at right now? But then it's just so good, and the energy is so, like you get so caught up in it. You just like, I don't know what this is, but I fucking love it.
It's ferocious.
Ferocious. Yeah. Like, I love the way that Steph just kind of flaunts female sexuality in people's faces. Just like, oh, you like this? You can have it. Like, fuck you. And just, it's just so awesome to watch people watch them, because it starts out like, some people are like, yeah, this is cool. But then as it keeps going, they're like, this is unlike anything I've ever seen. This is amazing. Like, they're so good. So yeah, that's cool. I'm glad that was your experience, Josh, because that's, I think that's what we wanted it to be.
Absolutely. I would have to also second Josh on Full of Hell. They've always been a band, I know, to us as peers of them and friends, one of the younger generation, let's say a younger generation than us, coming up with the same sort of ideals and same or similar dedication to craft and idea and pushing things further with every release. And they've done it humbly and done it not necessarily quietly. They just kind of like paved their own road. And, we see a lot of qualities of our own band in theirs. And to me, that's a really rewarding thing, because the way we do things isn't the easiest way. We run into a lot of challenges along the way, and we don't really compromise. And I feel that Full of Hell are also aligned with that same mentality, both creatively and sort of from a sort of band business perspective, per se.
Yeah, the moment I met those guys, I knew like we were cut from the same cloth. So it was imperative that we had them on, at least for the first year, in my opinion. Overall, I just, for the first year, and hopefully every year moving forward, like, I just wanted to curate the festival in a way that, like, showcase things that maybe don't get a lot of attention in this area. There's no shortage of like metal shows, and there's no shortage of hardcore shows and punk shows, but it's there used to be like this weird little area in between all of those things where all of it kind of met, and it all existed in this little tiny, there's like a big sphere, and it was right in the middle, and like all of these bands used to play together and find some common ground in their shared weirdness. And it seems like a lot of that has kind of disappeared over the years. Everyone's kind of gotten into their niche categories, and you know, I don't know. I just missed that, you know, and I missed the way that those shows really tried to incorporate community and incorporate like nonprofit organizations and mutual aid groups and things like that. And so I'm going off the plot right now. Sorry, man.
No, you're staying on it because you're telling us what's important, what was missing.
Yeah, and you know, there are pieces of that in every aspect of the music scene here, but I felt like there just wasn't one thing that like brought it all together again. And so I don't know, that was kind of the whole deal. I was like, I just miss that again. I miss that. I want that back. Like I miss like the way like More Than Music Festival was, where it was just like you would, you know, Converge would play with the Locust, and then High on Fire would play, and then, you know, like whatever wild emo band with No Shoes on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Yeah,
you
it
know?
was all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, and Food Not Bombs was there, and you know, like just I don't know, I just missed it. And then, as I'm sure you can relate, Jake, like playing Roadburn multiple times and playing Fire in the Mountains, it really like drives it, when you do play festivals like that versus, you know, some of the bigger metal festivals out there and rock festivals. You really see how some really focus on the music and like really trying to curate something interesting and you know, challenging, and others it's clear that they're just trying to get whatever the biggest names in there that they can to get the most people there. And you know, both of those things have their merits, but I really wanted to focus on the first, you know, like curating something that was interesting and was going to be challenging to the audience, and to get to a point where people would just be like, I'm going, I don't even know who's playing, but I know it's going to be something good.
I don't want to speak for everybody here, but you know, in my mind, I think when we talked about first doing this, it was always going to be, you know, a multi-day thing at some point down the road. And, you know, going back to the streamlining thing, I think that's, you know, we were all like, let's make sure that we can do this. Let's do one day. Let's do 7 or 8 bands, or I forget what it was, 8 or 9 bands, one stage, and you know, still try to create the environment that you wanted to. I don't want to say present, to live in, right? Like this, you know, community and. God, I almost want to say theme. Like that's not the right word, but I think you know what I'm talking about.
I do. Yeah. No, absolutely.
But I think it was always like, this should be a multi-day thing. And there's, you know, there's a plethora of bands that, you know, we've all talked about in a running list of, I don't want to say hundreds. It's a lot, you know, there's a lot of artists that like deserve to be here and that we want to have here. But year one made sense. Like, let's just keep it simple. And, moving to 2 days this year, like it just felt like a no-brainer. It felt like the logical next step. Probably came earlier than I thought. You know, doing it in year 2. I think when originally we were saying like, you know, down the road, you know, year 3 or 4 or whatever it was. This year, I think, at least for me, I think it made the most sense to go right to 2 days. Was, you know, the 25th anniversary of Jane Doe. And you guys wanting to do that set and celebrate that album. And I think it really needed to be 2 days to do that.
Mm-hmm. For me, I mean, like every band is awesome and it's just going to be a great time. But like, for me, I'm just still like, okay, we're still figuring it out, like, how do we make this not feel like a slog all day? Even when every band is great, what else can we bring in to make it more fun and easy for people and interesting? Just that kind of stuff. And like, I'm just excited to watch every band, and I'm excited to play, and I'm excited to see people enjoying it.
One thing that Nate and I experience a lot when we're traveling is we have these friendships and these relationships with not only these bands, but the visual artists as well, and all of these people that we meet on tours and that we see in these little geographical pockets all the time, but we never have ever had the ability to really introduce them to New England in our home. And to me, that's really special, and that feels, I don't know, that feels really important. I absolutely love like having Thomas Hooper up, for example, for live art. He's
Yeah.
been such a friend and partner in our band since we met him, decades and decades ago. Just being able to share, our sort of hometown with somebody like him. Uh, Jody and Sarah from Night Swim from Minnesota, who are doing the live art with us. This year, we'll have Jay Weinberg will be there playing with Fuming Mouth and will be part of the live art as well. And Jay's been a friend and supporter of our world for a long time, and I think it'd be really cool to showcase how sort of talented he is in a variety of ways. Um, you know, I'm excited about being able to have just more room for bands, like
Yeah.
with Fuming Mouth being like the opener on day one, like guys, that new Fuming Mouth album, and I'm going to talk to Mark about this soon. It's a beast.
It's pretty savage, man.
It's pretty savage, and
Yeah.
it's really emotional, and it's it's just it's unique because of his life experiences and what he's been struggling with, and you can feel that, and it resonate. And just like being able to just take a band like that, put them in this environment, and we know that they're not going to be playing in front of 50 people when people start coming in. They're
Yeah.
every band that has been chosen for a reason, and they deserve the utmost attention. And I believe that our audience that is coming out to this really appreciates that and will show up for all of them and know that there's magic in all of these bands that are playing.
Absolutely. And I think it's cool to be able to present a different environment for certain bands to play in that,
Sure.
Maybe like we've got a weird little world that we exist in, and like it's not necessarily a band that, or a world that a lot of these bands play in Boston at least. And so it's kind of cool to be able to present a band like Fuming Mouth that way, to this crowd, to these other bands that are playing, Habak,
Habak playing in a room like this is going to be fantastic. It's going to be unreal.
I know. There have been certain people playing on the first day that called me and were like, "You got to move them to the first day, man, because I can't stay for Sunday." And I'm like, "Sorry,
sorry, man. I don't know. You got to figure something out."
Yeah,
but I guess that's
sick on Monday, bro.
That's just so great about this, though. That everyone that's been chosen is a heavy hitter in their world. That connects with us and we're fans of. I think that's the thing. Like, as Nate touched on before, so many of these festivals are rooted upon what's popular at that specific, time and place. Favors for agents, favors for tours, whatever. There's always politics going on as to why, certain bands are chosen to do things. And this is just devoid of that.
Yeah, this is, we love your band. You're our friends. We want to hang out with you.
And if we're not, and if we don't know you yet, we want to know you because we love your art and music and what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, like, how long have we known Justin Pearson? You know, like,
I met him in 1994, my first tour that I ever did, San Diego. I was on tour with Deltonic. I was selling their records and shirts for them and selling Converge records on the tour. And we played San Diego with Swing Kids. And that's when I met.
That's awesome.
It was sick. And that's when I met Justin and was it the Jose, the drummer, I believe?
Yeah.
Of Struggle and Swing Kids. But yeah, I mean, the roots go so deep, you know, like these are people that are their peers, distant friends, acquaintances. And it's just so awesome to be able to have Def Club here. I mean, how good are Def Club?
They're incredible. I'm so happy to have them this year. Like, it's one of like every one of these bands. It's like there's so many bands that I know that I'm just like, oh, I just wish that we could play with them more. That I wish that we could have them on a show with us in Boston. You know, like I want our crowd to see them, and like it just doesn't. It's hard to make that happen. And so this kind of gives us that opportunity to be like, all right, now we can do it. You know,
absolutely.
We're bringing our friends here and we're going to hang out. We're going to have fun. We're going to make some awful noise, you know?
Here's another one. Reversal of Man.
Absolutely.
You know, a band that is still super important, made a lot of noise at a specific point in time and, you know, cut out their little chunk of the world, and to be able to bring them here is the coolest thing.
Yeah, I'm really happy about that. I'm happy that I tried to make it happen last year, but it just didn't come together. So I'm really glad that it did this year.
No, that's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, I could touch on every band that's playing if you want to. I'll just do
Josh,
it really
what
fast.
about you, man? What are you excited
about? Yeah, Josh,
about?
what do you got? You had a lot to say too, and that's important. Let's talk about it.
Well, I think before I do that, you know, I wanted to chime in and say, and maybe this is, you know, beating a dead horse, but the main difference between what we're doing here and basically every other festival, and I shouldn't say every because there are certainly a few, and you guys touched on them, or touched on a couple of them, but so many festivals are just like, you know, the conversation is, okay, well, who's on the road this year? Who's promoting a record? What tour packages are going out and how many of them can we smash together? Mm-hmm. And that's your festival. And you're probably still cherry picking some bands here or there, but like it's largely just like what's out, whatever genre or scene that you're trying to present. And hearing you guys talk about each of these individual bands just reminds me, and I want to like you put an emphasis on this. Every one of these was multiple phone calls, emails, conversations. There wasn't like, here are all the submissions that we got, or, you know, is me saying like, here are all the submissions that I got, me and Pike, and we're coming to you guys and we're like, who of these bands do you want us to go for? Every band that was chosen was a conversation with you guys and us of like, we've got to have this band on. How do we get them on this year?
Yeah.
And then just kind of sifting through like who's available, you know, what do we want to present this year? I mean, obviously keeping in mind, you know, I hate to talk about like ticket sales and covering expenses and all that, but like that's obviously part of it, but that's not the main objective. And this isn't a cash grab. And this is, you know, trying to like build something from nothing and turn it into, you know, this just fun, creative space and an event that, you know, hopefully just keeps building.
For sure.
Absolutely.
You know, I know you brought some bands to the table that I'll mention that I that were surprising and also a welcomed addition, which is like Agriculture, for example. I believe that was one of your mentions early on in ideas.
It was.
And I thought that was a really, really great one because that band is very special and doing something that's kind of hard to describe, to be honest. Same with Chat Pile, to be honest, as well. And they're both just juggernauts at what they're doing.
I'm so psyched Chat Pile is doing it. Like I felt like it was a long shot to get them on. And when they said yes, I was like, what? Really? Awesome. You know?
Yeah, no, for sure. It felt great.
Yeah, they were excited to do it. And, that came about from, they were routing through in the fall, and the conversation would just quickly turn into like, well, what if they skip the market and do this instead? And they had a pretty quick conversation and came back saying, absolutely, they wanted to do that. So
that's awesome.
I'm psyched that worked out.
To what you were saying a minute ago about like getting submissions and stuff, like not to, it's hard to talk about this without sounding like an elitist or something, but like, so, some bands were brought up where, it's just like, there's no shortage of shows and festivals for a band like that, whoever, you want to name, to play.
Many on my list,
and, but
I agree. I agree.
It's like, yeah, I mean, but I'm trying, what I really want to do is create something where these bands that just never get to play here can play here, because I mean, you can look at any number of tour routings and it's like Connecticut, Montreal, but they just skip Boston, and because it can be a difficult market to hit on a tour. It's very hit or miss.
It's very hit or miss, and I gotta say,
unless it's very hit or miss for certain kinds of bands, and so it's just like, let's make something where it's possible for those bands to play here, because there are people that want to see a lot of these weirdo bands,
Absolutely, including us weirdos. That's the whole point.
We're absolutely the weirdos.
I'll touch on a few more before I let you all go. Let's talk about Pigpen and having Maddie there. I think that's going to be really cool, man. He's a huge personality. He's been around, the sort of Canadian scene for a long time on the periphery. And it's really cool to see all the success that he's had as an actor and musician. And he just fucking loves punk rock. He's just he's the real deal. And I really am excited to be able to showcase a band that is fucking awesome, that people should be paying more attention to, not just because Maddie happens to be. They just have, just a killer character and vibe, no decoration, just fucking simple, brutal punk rock hardcore.
Yeah, they're a great band. I mean, Maddie's a friend, and again, like I said earlier, like I love having an excuse to be able to hang out with my friends, and in the case of Pigpen, it's like they don't tour often, and it's really difficult for them to schedule things. And so when I brought it up to Maddie and he was like, yes, I was like, what? Really? You could do it? Hell yeah. Let's do it.
Hell yeah. Let's do it. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah,
I think that took a little while to get the schedules to line up.
I'm sure. He seems like the busiest person in the world via the internet.
But the response we kept getting was he wanted to do it and they were going to find a way. So
that's super cool, man.
That's awesome.
What's the saying? If you want to get something done, ask a busy person.
Ask a busy person. That's completely true.
That's the truth. Yeah, I mean, they're just a great band. Like, when you hear it, it's a labor of love, and it's not like, everyone involved in that band knows their shit. Like, you're like, oh, this is not fake.
This is not poser shit. This is real.
Yeah, this is real. And so
trust us.
It's one of those things too. Like, I heard it, I just saw the album cover and I played it. I was like, oh, this is cool. And I played it and I was like, this is awesome. Mm-hmm. I didn't know it was Maddie's band until after the fact. And then I was like, dude, like, how do you do so much awesome shit? Like, how do you have the energy for this? But yeah, so I don't know.
Well, you don't know. You know that.
Maddie or no Maddie, I like Pigpen, but
Yeah, they're sick.
Pro Maddie.
So, so let's keep going up a little bit on day one. Let's talk about Emma Ruth.
Oh man.
So we met Emma, I believe, through Red Sparrows when she was in that band, correct? That's when we started. That's when we our first.
Doom Riders and Red Sparrows did a U.S. tour together. That's when I met Emma.
I believe I met her around the same time too. She was a special artist then. But what she's evolved into as a singer-songwriter is like some of the most heart-wrenching, beautiful music that is happening right now. That is sort of, for lack of better terminology, I'll call it punk adjacent, right? And she's spectacular. When we watched her at Fire in the Mountains, not this year, but the previous year, it was the best thing I saw in probably that year.
It was fantastic. We were lucky. We saw her 2 days or twice that weekend because we played post festival with her too.
Yeah, and, I didn't get. She was inside, I think.
Yeah, it was 1,000 degrees in there. I felt really bad for her, but
brutal.
Yeah, when I met her, when she was in Red Sparrows, she passed along some records of some of her. She had another band called the Nocturnes, and I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And I checked it out and was like, "Whoa, this is awesome!"
Mm-hmm.
And then Red Sparrows disbanded, and she started Marriages, and I was like, "Okay, I'm liking this." And then she started putting out her solo records, and just every single time she put out a record, and I was just blown away. And every single time I'm like, what's she going to do? And
what's she going to do?
It's different every time, and it's always interesting, and it's never what I expect it to be. She's just really dedicated to her craft, whether it's making art or creating music. It's, she's constantly immersed in it, and I'm like jealous of that kind of dedication, and that talent. She's one of those people that makes me jealous because she's so good at everything she does.
She's a true life artist. She gives everything she has to it, and you can feel it all throughout all of it, through her visual work, through her music. And, I feel our audience who wasn't that familiar previous will hopefully connect with it because they need to, essentially.
I hope so. I bugged the shit out of her last year to try to get her to play last year, and she couldn't do it. And then, she's like, but, I'm working on a new record. And I'm like, you're playing next year. Like,
I think it was one of the first offers we sent for year two.
Awesome.
And one of the earliest confirmations may have been the first.
I think it was. But yeah, I was like, I'm not letting you off the hook. You're playing.
I love it. Let's talk about Cave In, a band that you're in.
I'm in that band.
You're in that band. Let's talk about your band.
Well, it's not my band.
No, it's a band that has deep history, huge connections to us personally, creatively. I mean, they're our brothers. They're our younger brothers, and they always have been.
I'm gonna be tired that night, man.
You're gonna be really fucking tired. So I'm excited for that because Cave In hasn't. When was the last time Cave In played? I know this year was a little
in Boston.
Yeah.
With
last August.
Was it last August?
Boston? Oh,
I think it was last
Jupiter
August
at Sinclair.
Jupiter Sinclair.
Or was it with what are they called? The band we played with at Roadrunner.
Interpol.
Interpol.
Oh, Interpol. You did the Interpol show. That's right.
Yeah.
Actually, now I can't remember if that was before the bot show or after. The poster's
that was
behind me.
That was after the Botch show, but
I think you're right. Yeah.
I think the Jupiter show was after that, actually.
Okay. So what's I know Cave-In has been all of us, the entire Cave-In universe has been quite busy. What are you most looking forward to playing that set?
I have no idea, dude. Like,
Yeah.
we haven't been that busy this year. We've mostly just been writing music.
Well,
and,
more so members, not the band themselves. But you guys practice more than most bands that I know, which is always awesome.
Yeah. It's those guys are like into practicing.
They're into practice.
That's weird. I'm like, who does that?
Who does that?
No, it's I don't know. Like, we actually just recently we kind of started talking about, hey, what should we play this year at Saddest Day? And so maybe we should take a poll.
I'll give you some poll. Yeah.
What do you want to hear, Jake?
Oh, that's a good question. Always big riff.
I mean, yeah.
You always have to play big riff.
I don't know if I have played a Cave-In show where we have not played big riff.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So I like deep cuts. I like when Cave-In goes and into the Until Your Heart Stops world. Just because I like hearing new takes on classic songs, because you've all matured, you've all become better players. And I feel that you just play those songs in a way that bring them new life. You know, it doesn't sound like a band is just going like, hey, here's the song from 20 years ago. Yay. You know, like there's just there's a different kind of energy there, which I always appreciate about when Cave-In does, you know, occasionally dip back into some of the older material here and there.
I mean, I guess if there was going to be a show to do it, this would be the one. No barrier, you know.
Yeah, no barrier.
Everyone can just step on all of our pedal boards and
yeah, and hurt all the stuff.
Yeah, why not?
Let's see, what else? I mean, New Moon.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear New Moon.
Okay.
I think that would be really cool. I like Heavy Pendulum a lot. So I'm always excited when, you know, you guys dig into that record, and that's the first record you were, you know, a part of. Creatively, let me ask you a question. How much of a role did you have in that record? I know from writing music with you and editing music with you, you know, you have a specific way of coming in with things. How was that coming into Cave-In?
I had a pretty big role in it. I didn't write a ton of the music, but a lot of the editing.
Right.
And I mean, a lot of that was written during COVID, so we weren't even in the room together.
Yeah, and it's okay. It's okay. And I should say too, you know, like Nate writes wonderful riffs and writes songs all the time, but one of his master strengths when we're all in a room together in Converge is being a really solid editor and going,
well, thank you.
You're welcome. But just going like, hey, we got to cut that shit out. It's too much of it, too little of it. You know, let's rethink these things. Let's bring a song back to its basics.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And I do hear that when I listen to Heavy Pendulum a bit.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely there. I mean, Steve was just locked in his room just writing riffs, and so he would send these full songs, and thankfully, like, Steve doesn't get married to ideas, you know.
No, he just has all the ideas.
Yeah, he would send me a full song, and I would listen to it, and, you know, I would make notes, and it'd be like, what if you cut this here and maybe change the rhythm of this, or, like, you know, that kind of stuff. And then he'd come back with his ideas. And then when we could actually get in the room together again, things really started moving quickly. But yeah, I think we knew immediately when we started writing, we knew, like, okay, there's some good stuff here. It's just got to be formed into something. And yeah, I mean, maybe you could interview Steve for this too, but like,
yeah. So yep, I will. I'll be talking to Steve and Adam soon.
But
so
yeah, like I felt like we all really enjoyed the process and all felt like we were gaining something from it, and all of us were making the songs better than what they started out as. And I also felt like, you know, I felt like we all knew that we had something good, and so we were just really focused on making it as good as we possibly could. The other thing that was interesting about writing that record is we wrote a lot of those songs in the sequential order of the record, where like we were like, oh, this is definitely a closer, you know, like with Wavering Angel, and then I believe Steve wrote, you know, we need an opener, and then Steve wrote New Reality, and then it was like we started piecing things together, and we had, you know, openings, and we're like, well, there needs to be a third song, because it doesn't feel like we have a song that gets you from this to this. And then Steve would be like, got it, and then he would come back and write something, and you're like, how did you do that? Like, you know,
he's
that's
a savant. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's true. It's so different than the way I've ever done it in any other band, where it's like, you know, here are all the songs we have, none of them fit together, let's see if we can make them fit together somehow. You know,
well, I'm looking forward to it. You know, Steve, to me, I know I say this to you guys all the time. I mean, he works at it, but he's also such a natural talent. But he's just like Emma, dedicated to his craft. Like,
absolutely.
Like both him and Adam, I don't know anybody that that really practices and just sort of like works on their craft and are like this study music. You know,
yeah,
huge devout fans of music.
It's pretty amazing. Yeah, actually, Josh.
Yeah.
So I didn't even think Caven would play this year. Josh, it was your suggestion, Josh. So,
thank you, Josh.
Yeah,
thank you for making that happen.
A, what prompted that, and B, what do you want to hear, man?
Prompted that? Well, I mean, I feel like we had that conversation for year one. I think we always knew like they were like an obvious choice. I say they, you're sitting in front of me as part of the band.
I still call Caven they.
Yeah.
Like it, even though I'm in the band, it doesn't feel like it's my band, you know?
Yeah. I understand. But you know, what's so beautiful about that though, is that, you know, you're paying homage to your friend that we all lost by playing in his place. And we all see that, I'll see the optics and the intention there, and know that that's what this is, and it's a tribute to him, and it's a really beautiful thing in Caleb's memory.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's keep going. Back to Josh. Back to Josh.
Go back to Josh.
All right, sorry, buddy. All right, let's say a few more. Oh, go ahead, Josh. What's up?
I was just gonna say, you know, like I don't think I ever go into anything with the expectation that an artist is going to play a song. I know that feels like a cop out, but I just like never. I don't think I've ever gone to see anyone and like really thought to myself, man, I really hope they play this, or I really hope they play that. I mean, I'm sure that's happens over the thousands of shows that I've been to. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like it's about the whole experience. It's just, yeah, I don't know. It just, I've never really been one to be like, I hope for this song.
All right. Well, that's your homework, man. You got to think of this. You got to make a request.
Yeah. Make a request. You know,
I can do that if I put.
Yeah. Listen to some stuff. See what happens. No,
I will say that Caven is the band that I've probably booked the most outside of, actually it's probably neck and neck with Converge, but of this lineup. You know, we go back years. I actually worked at Newbury Comics with Adam McGrath.
Oh, no shit. I didn't know that.
In my early 20s on Newbury Street.
Mm-hmm.
Is that when Santos worked there too?
I don't believe so. Jim Carroll worked there with
nice.
me. Trying to think of who else. There was a couple. It was like, that was always weird to me. Not weird, like really cool to me that, like day one showing up, and when I probably didn't like realize on day one, but pretty early in meeting coworkers there, I was just like, holy shit. Like, everybody's in a band, or
everybody's in band,
runs their own label, or like whatever it was that they were doing, just like creative, just working in this store, because we all wanted to be around music.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That was a cool little zone around that time too. Like, at any given time of the day, if you went to that Newberry Comics or walked up to Tower Records, you were going to run into multiple people in like punk and hardcore bands, or people who ran record labels, or like it was like all very concentrated right there to that area.
Yeah.
But
now I can't even imagine spending any time on that street.
I go there every now and then because that vegan ramen place is there. Red White Ramen. That place is awesome. But it's very rare. I live on the North Shore, so going to Boston for something other than a show is like, well, that's a lot.
I don't go past 128. That's my rule. Okay, so a couple last things to wrap up. There's two bands we cannot talk about yet, so we're not going to talk about them.
We're not going to talk about them.
They're not going to talk about them, but what we're going to say is that they're both fantastic, and I think
that heavy shit.
You like that heavy shit? Do you like two of the best bands in the world? Because they're playing our show, and we're really excited.
I am so excited about both of them. Oh, like there have been a lot of guesses online, and it's been really fun watching the guesses. But I can't wait to just finally announce both of those bands, and then I can't wait for the floor to shake. It's going to be so good. I can't wait to just host these people who we are friends with, who we've spent time with on the road, and kind of bring them into our world a little bit, and just I don't know, and kind of invite them into our house and try and be good hosts. I'm just very much looking forward to it.
That's a wonderful way of describing it. Inviting them to our house. If this festival show, however you want to define it, is anything, it's our collective house, and we're showing the world all of these fantastic bands, and many of them would never have the opportunity to play together. And I think that's really exciting. I'm just because I know that some of these bands playing with some of these other bands are like our little dreams.
Yeah. Well, and the other cool thing is, like, for the most part, most of these bands didn't know who else was playing.
No, they're all finding out in real time. Which I think
and when it got announced, they were like, "Oh my god!" So it's that's pretty cool.
And so, mind you, I just want to say I am only touching on day one on this one, since it's a bit long. I can continue, but we'll be going for like 2 hours, and people probably wouldn't want to have a 2-hour listen. Yeah. So we'll do another one that'll talk about day two. I just wanted to get this one going first.
All right.
So we have our band playing. We're playing again. Weird. It's our show. We're playing 2 nights. We're going to be tired.
I'm not as tired as me.
Nope. You're going to be the most tired.
Ben's going to be tired too, because he's got to do a lot of flying.
That's true. That is a pretty miserable to do. I know that sounds like a first world problem, and it is, but it's a real problem. It does get you tired.
Yeah. Well, Ben is, for those who don't know, Ben will be on tour with High on Fire, and he's going to fly back from Europe, play these shows, and then fly back to Europe with High on Fire.
And continue the
dedication.
Has that been announced? I don't know if that's been announced.
I believe so. They
Okay.
announced stuff like a little. They kind of just trickle stuff out there, so I'm pretty sure those dates are already behind fire.
All right, cool.
I think
So
the European dates are announced. Yeah.
yeah,
All
so
right.
there's that. So yeah, he's going to be very tired, but I'm looking forward to it. We've had a really busy year, and I don't know, we've done a lot this year. We released 2 records, and I'm excited to be able to play that music here at home. You know, um, like where was our last show, Nate? Where did we play? Was it Portugal?
Portugal.
Portugal. Yeah.
The
So like,
the day that Megadeth didn't play.
yes, yes.
Yeah. You can
Actually, that's
Google that. We don't need to talk about that.
we
But
don't.
wow, that show was wild.
Josh, I'm just going to tell you, as somebody running shows, knowing how these things work. Yeah, it was a 7 band festival. I'll talk about it just for a second, just because 7 band festival in an arena, massive, but more like a show, right? It was like there was 2 or 3 bands before us. We played, then Mastodon, Marilyn Manson, and then Megadeth. We're supposed to
Well, no,
play.
Megadeth, then Marilyn Manson.
Oh, Megadeth, then Marilyn Manson. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so when we got
It's so bizarre even putting our name in that mix. It's like what?
it is quite strange, but like we're weird gluttons for punishment, and we're kind of up for the challenge sometimes of these things. And when I tell you that we encountered some of the most challenging uh, just audio problems on stage that we have ever had, and we just said, "Fuck it, let's just go." It wasn't like we couldn't hear ourselves. What we could hear was actually at dangerous volumes, and they had no control of the board. It was just like I don't know what was happening, but
Yeah.
there was nobody that was a professional running this thing in this huge room. We played with no monitors, and when you do that in a large environment, you hear nothing because you have the array system above you. You can see your slap back throughout the room, but there's nothing. So we just played blind and just did it. Megadeth were dealing with the same issues, and they just said, "Fuck this, we're going home." And their stuff was on stage. Their drums, I changed in front of Dirk's drums. They were there, like and they were just like, "We're not going to do this. It's too dangerous for us. We're out." But we did it. And
Yeah, well, we need the
it was
money.
really hard.
That doesn't feel surprising to me at all.
Dude, it was. I really can't explain to you how crazy it was. Like, we got up there, as I'm sure you know, whenever there's a monitor. But so a lot of these bands were just like a lot of bands on festivals now. Everything is just plug and play. Everything's on in-ears. There's no amps, and so there was a monitor desk, but like no one had been using it. And it wasn't on the stage. It was on the floor next to a 6-foot high stage. So you couldn't even see the monitor guy.
It was secondary. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they had a dude with a walkie-talkie that was coming up and talking to us with an iPad. And he was like telling the guy through his walkie-talkie, like, "Hey, this monitor over here wants, no bass and wants their vocal up." But like, English was his second language. And I mean, he spoke 2 languages, so clearly he's smarter than me. But it was getting lost in the mix. And and it was just patched wrong. And so like, I'd be like, "Hey, I need this." And then it would come out over there, or it would be louder than everything else. And to the point where like, you literally couldn't hear anyone else on the stage. So we started playing and everything just starts blasting at us, and we're like, "Whoa." And so our tour manager is Czech, and he's like, "What can I do?" And so I'm like yelling at him like, "Yo, go tell him to just turn off the monitors." So he runs over, and it's a Czech guy whose second language is English speaking to a Portuguese guy whose second language is English, who's then relaying it to another guy. And it's nothing is getting fixed. And finally we're just, "Turn it off." And finally they turn everything off in like the 3rd song. And we're like, "Okay, I can at least hear what's happening behind me now. And then we just, thankfully, it was the last day of tour, and we had been playing every day for a couple of weeks, so we were like fairly tight. Yeah, we got through it, but man, it was a nightmare. Like
it was one of the hardest shows we've ever played in our in our run as a band. When I tell you, like, the volume when it did come on, like, I don't wear earplugs when we play because I'm too loud in my head if I scream if I have earplugs in. It's just the way the compression works in your head. So I mean, it did stuff to my hearing that I've never have had happen before on a live stage, and we play at loud volume all the time.
You should really wear earplugs, man.
I know. I'm a glutton for punishment. What are you gonna say?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to
see that myself, just being in the room.
Yeah, there you go. So
it sounds so different. Like, I mean, I know what you're talking. You know, I'm obviously not a singer, but just even having a conversation with somebody with earplugs in, it's just like your voice in your head is just so loud.
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure. But like, just to show you, like, you know, our band, we don't, because of our geographic sort of locations, we can't practice all the time. It's more of a scheduled sort of thing. But like a band like Caven, for example, can sharpen those things all the time and play. And you guys probably could have just done that with no conversation, to be honest.
I don't know about that. That was gnarly. And that's not even talking about what was going on out at, like, front of house at the sound desk. Like,
oh yeah,
our guy out there was just having the worst day of his life. Like, the whole system shut down on him.
Yeah, it just turned off like mid-set or something, like right before we started or something.
So that thing with Megadeth happened, and all these people were really angry, and there were all these posts about it on the internet, and I'm kind of like, I kind of get it, man. Like, I mean,
it was really bad. It was really bad.
It was really bad.
They're not being sensitive. It was really hard to do.
It was funny.
It was funny. We're not going to have that happen in our show. We may have other technical problems, but we're not going to have that.
Yeah. I mean, well, we had a technical difficulty last year. Maybe you remember, Josh, that the subs were directly under the stage. And it was awesome. They were so powerful and so loud, but they were so strong that if you hit the kick drum, like, the pedal boards and stuff were like jumping off of the stage. And so, like, stuff just kept coming unplugged. And then, like, if you watch video from last year, like when we were playing Saddest Day, like, my amp just cut out. It was because the inputs were getting shaken loose on the back of the amp. And so, but you know what? It made me do a stage dive.
There you go.
I haven't done in a while.
So all right. Well, so cool. You know, that's a good thing. Yeah. The subs are amazing. I remember, like, I know when subs are great when I can actually feel them, like, in my thighs. Like, you know what I mean? Like, where you can't, if you stand, you actually, it tickles you too much. You have to move.
Yeah.
Like, and walk around. But yeah, no, I love it. So I'm really excited about.
I love the sound system in there, dude. It's so powerful. It sounds great.
It's the fucking best. And can I just tell you that you're also going to have some of the fucking greatest sound engineers in there for some of these bands that we know.
Oh yeah.
That are going to really make people fucking have the time of their lives, or get sick. But it's going to be great.
But also, I mean, like, that's one of the other things I love about Roadrunner is the crew there. Like, everybody.
You have the best people in the city.
Everybody knows what they're doing, and, like, everybody is a punk too, which is the best part. It's all behind the scenes punks. And that's what I love. Behind the scenes punks. It's all about it.
You know, there's so much, I mean, obviously there's so much extra work that goes into an event like this, especially for our production team, building the stage, you know, coming in early and just, like, you know, everything's, I don't want to say like on the fly, but much more so than just like a standard show. And, like, this is what our crew lives for. Like, they love this stuff. They love any time we're, like, doing something a little bit outside of the box that isn't just like a straightforward, like, 2 or 3 man bill. So that's not even to say, like, obviously we have a lot of fans of the band and fans of heavy music that work for us. But just in general, like, it's just something different. It's something more creative. And that just, like, for me too, like, just booking tours that come through day in after day out. And this is just so much more redeeming. Like, it just feels, there's so much more work that we work on this all year round. And I fucking love it.
Actually, that's one thing
awesome.
I do want to touch on before we wrap, is it does take a long time to do these things. I know that the audience sees them just kind of appear magically, right? But I mean, we've been working on this basically since the day after the other one, or
I
even
was on the phone
during?
with Josh the day after, and they're like, "All right,
After.
what are we doing? What are we doing for 2026?"
Honestly, definitely had conversations like throughout that day, probably even in advance of it, of like, how do we build upon this? How do we, I don't want to say like fix problems, because I don't really, outside of what you talked about, I think it's just like, there's always going to be room for improvement. So like, how do we just continue to like drive this forward and just make it like a must be out event? Like, how do we get people to want to travel to Boston in December and feel like you have to be there?
For sure.
You got to make it cool, man.
You got to make it fucking cool.
Already working on 2027, man. I got a whole list.
Oh,
I know you do.
The list is and the list is really good.
Saddest Day 2026, December 12th and 13th at Roadrunner Boston. 2 days, 1 room, all ages, no barriers and no overlapping sets. Converge performing 2 sets including a special 25th anniversary Jane Doe set. Cave-In, Emma Ruth Rundle, Pigpen, Death Club, Final Gasp, Chat Pile, Baroness, Agriculture, Reversal of Man, Habat, Fuming Mouth, plus 2 very special guests. Live art, food, vendors, nonprofits, and more. Featuring a live art creation and exhibition from Jacob Bannon, Night Swim Project, Thomas Hooper, Aaron Turner, John Baisley, Meryl Van Haster, Jay Weinberg, and more. Saddest Day 2026, December 12th and 13th at Roadrunner Boston. Get your tickets now at saddest.day.